Hey guys, welcome to your Friday morning video and hope you've had a great week. We have winners from last night's game at the RBC. Patrons did really well at the RBC last night. Coming in second overall was the patron partnership of Lori Skanga and Dean Shangler. They had a 63.3%. That's a great showing, guys. In fifth overall was John Gritman. In sixth overall was Karen Popovich. They had 58 and 57 respectively. In first in C were Eileen Bach and Renee Getz. They had a 52. Also placing were Jim Rue and Petro, and a couple of patron partnerships, Alan Cohen and Deanna Eastwood. Hadn't seen them in a while, so welcome back to the RBC. And Marlon Glado, Cindy Hinshaw. So lots of good showings last night in the Thursday night RBC game. Today's video is going to be a hand review of those. I played the game with Bill Wisdom. We had a 54.5%. So as we go through these hands, I might show you what happened at our table if it was at all interesting, and we'll look at how my personal score match pointed. So let's go on to the screen share here and let's just talk about these hands from last night. All right, here is hand one. So right off the bat, I think there's a pretty close decision here whether or not North should open this hand. So I'm not to say which way you want to go on this. I'm sure some of you are tempted to open this. Maybe some of you opened it. Maybe some of you thought, like, are you crazy? I would never open this hand. I won't tell you which way to go. We'll actually go down both paths here. But just remind you that tactically speaking, opening the bidding is a big win. So you probably want to tend to loosen up your opening standards maybe a little bit, right? And yeah, just realize that opening the bidding slightly aggressively is a winning action long term. So let's go down that path to begin with. Let's say that North opened a diamond. And part of what we're opening the bidding on here is like the 10-9 of hearts and the 10 of diamonds, I suppose. And the fact that we're not vulnerable, I suppose. East would overcall a spade. I think South has enough shape here to make a negative double. If your double is going to force your partnership to the 2 level, it really ought to be, I don't know, something like worth 8 points. Here you have 6-4 shape and 6 high card points. You do have the 4 cards in the unbid major, and whatever partner wants to do over a spade double, you're probably fine with. So I think this is just enough to make a negative double. West has kind of what looks to me like a point count trap. Like it's 10 points, but do we really want to count this as a limit raise? Like if we wanted to count this as an invitational hand, the idea here would be to cubid their suit, which would be 2 diamonds. And that would say invitational plus with spades. But if we look at our loser count, and 4 3-3 hands are always going to be worse than they look high card point wise, even with 4 trumps here. You have 3 spade losers, 3 heart losers at 6, a half a club loser is 6.5, and 2.5 diamond losers is 9. And 9 losers is kind of in the ballpark of where you give partner a simple raise, right? So also like the queen of diamonds probably is garbage. It turns out to actually kind of be garbage on this hand. Like it provides a little bit of a nuisance, but it shouldn't be providing a trick when partner plays spades as the cards lie. We'll talk about that in a second. I would just content myself with a 2 spade raise here. I'm not looking to get to the 3 level necessarily. They don't necessarily have a fit. I'm just going to bid 2 spades. This does not look like an invitation to me because of the 9 losers and the 4 3-3 shape. And that's kind of 2 ways of saying the same thing. 2 spades. North doesn't have a heart fit. If North did have 4 hearts at this point, it would probably be right to bid 3 hearts on most of them, and that wouldn't be showing extra values. It would just be confirming a fit with partner. If we have 8 hearts and they have 8 spades, it's normally safe to compete 3 hearts over 2 spades. So lacking that and really lacking opening bid values, North would pass. East has a pretty easy pass here. Let's go over here and do my settings. I always forget to do this. I just toggle back and forth between doing videos and playing cards, so it's hard to. We're going to slide those back off. All right, we'll go ahead. Yeah. All right. East has no reason to bid. And South, like, what do you want to do here? We can't double. Partner might leave that in. We've already expressed the 4 hearts. 2 no trump should not be natural. So if partner were on the same wavelength, we could maybe bid 2 no trump here. We could also maybe bid 3 clubs. The question is, like, which action shows like 6 clubs and 3 diamonds versus, say, 5 clubs and 4 diamonds? If we've already shown the hearts, if we had more diamonds than clubs at this point, and we wanted to compete, which I think we do, right? We don't want to let them play at the 2 level when they've got a fit. If we had more diamonds than clubs at this point, I think we just bid 3 diamonds. So the question is how to get everything into the picture here. Is it via 2 no trump or is it via 3 clubs? And I guess the answer is to bid 3 clubs if you think that 2 no trump has any chance of being interpreted as natural, which it really shouldn't be. Like, if you have a natural 2 no trump here, you're just going to pass, right, and take your plus and 2 spades. So I think the idea is we do want to compete, and 3 clubs maybe is the best description of the hand. So at this point, West has a couple of options. You could compete to 3 spades based on the 9-card fit. You could also maybe double to suggest that I've got a pretty good defensive hand here, and that it's flat, and I have ace king 9 of trumps. And you've already heard me say I have a single raise with spade support. So if you've got some shapely hand, you can feel free to pull this double. But given what we know about the auction so far, I have a very nice defensive hand in context. I think that's what double would be here. And so West would double, and I think everybody shrugs and passes at this point if you have this type of auction. And I believe what you would do, see, is there any reason to play ace king in a club, or should we just lead partner suit? I think we should just lead partner suit. Let's see what the double dummy thinks of that. Right off the bat, it looks to me like we have a diamond, a heart, and a couple of clubs, but the problem is they're going to tap us in spades. Let's see what double dummy thinks about 3 clubs here. Okay, it thinks it's down 1. So East-West, actually, if they could see the cards, it would be better to play 3 spades here, because 3 spades produces 140, and 3 clubs doubled is going to produce 100, according to double dummy. And also notice that, and again, according to double dummy, that's not always going to be true. You do have more protection, not vulnerable, when you compete to 3 of a minor in an auction like this. Notice that North-South, even though they're going down in this contract, has achieved a better result than if they defended 2 spades. And that wouldn't be true if they were vulnerable. So, you know, sometimes I get asked about, does vulnerability affect these things? The answer is, like, yes, it does. You have to be more careful, but you also got to realize the real danger of just passively accepting letting them play 2 spades on auctions like these. So if East-West went on to spades, they're going to get 140. They're going to get 100 against 3 clubs doubled here. Let's see how both of those scores would have match pointed. We'll talk about the play in 3 spades in just a second. All right, so back here to the history. Bill and I actually did get 140 on this deal for 54%. That is the par on the deal, I believe. So 54% actually seems a little bit low to me. Are there a bunch of people? Yeah, there's a bunch of 170s and 420s. If you got the 4 spades here, like I think you pretty definitely overbid. And really the limit of the deal is 9 tricks. So 140 kind of like in equilibrium ought to be a tie for a top here. 100 would have been what, like 40%? 100 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs out of 14 comparisons. So I've done enough batting averages in my life to know that that's 429. So you get 43% for plus 100, 53% for plus 140. So actually not a ton of difference here in 140 and 100. Let's talk about these 170s and 420s because something's going wrong on defense here. So in spades, you get all 5 spade tricks, right? You have an entry to the board and you have all the spots in spades. So you should get 5 spades, 2 clubs, the ace of hearts, and only 1 diamond. The problem is if the defense attacks diamonds from the north side, or if they somehow mispitch, or if they cash the ace of diamonds, then you're actually going to get a second diamond trick for 170 or 420. I'm not exactly sure how that would normally happen. Like, we just look at the diamond suit in isolation. It should be obvious that East-West is only entitled to 1 diamond trick here. Yeah. Let's see, is there a way to... what if East led the 10 of clubs and South covered? I wondered if that happens sometimes. South really shouldn't cover the 10 of clubs here. I don't think there's anything that you can promote for your partner. Like, if Declare's just got Jack 10 of clubs, there's no reason to cover with the queen, because the 9's in the dummy for one thing. So I wonder if they led the 10 of clubs, it got covered with the queen, and the 9 of clubs turned into a trick. That's a possibility. But back to this diamond suit, like, this is the diamond suit where if you are playing it, the only legitimate way to make 2 diamond tricks out of this is A, to strip the hand and throw them in so they have to lead either diamonds or give you a rough sluff, or failing that, you've just got to guess one opponent for ace doubleton and lead through them once and duck on the way back. So, like, let's say, and we're not going to be able to strip the hand here because the trumps are 4-0. So by the time we're done pulling trump, the West hand is going to be out of trumps. So let's just talk about how we would play this diamond suit if we can't get them to play it for us. I would guess that South would be the one who would be more likely to hold ace doubleton of diamonds. Why? Because North opened a diamond, right? So, like, based on high card points only, I would guess that North has the ace of diamonds. But if I've got to guess one opponent to have ace and 1, it would be South. And the idea would be I would lead a diamond from the East hand through that projected ace doubleton. And if they went up ace, that's great. My king and queen are 2 tricks. And if they ducked, I would play the queen from the dummy. And then on the next round, I would just play small from both hands, hoping that the ace would fall on air, is what it's called when the ace just captures low cards. And the other possibility is maybe they led diamonds at some point and North just flew the ace. But you'll notice, like, that, there's no reason for the defense to ever be leading diamonds in this situation. Anyway, moving on to board 2. Oh, I said I would go down the path on board 1 of what if North didn't open. So if North didn't open, I think it's just going to go like pass a spade, pass 2 spades, on the same reasoning that it's kind of a point count trap. It's going to go pass, pass, and South's probably going to balance with either double or 3 clubs. I hate double because I don't have partner's going to leave that in a lot of the times. Like, if I'm looking at a trump void and partner's got perhaps 5 of them, if there's been a 1 spade bid on my right and a 2 spade raise on my left, I'm a little bit reticent to double with a trump void in those situations in case partner would leave it in. So probably it transforms into a very similar auction if East is able to open 1 spade. All right, board 2, pass. And we have another borderline opening that I would make. It's 11 with 5-4 shape. I'd open a diamond, make a takeout double with the West hand. You cannot sit and wait for perfect takeout double shape. Like 4-3, 4-2 with an opening hand is, and shortness in their suit, no values in their suit. This is a perfectly acceptable, normal takeout double. You can't wait to have exactly 4-4 in the majors to make a takeout double. Put too many hands into pass, basically. All right, North has 9 high card points and diamonds, not enough for a redouble. If you were a little, like, if you took away a diamond and made it something like the Queen of Hearts, take the 3 of diamonds, make the Queen of Hearts such that you've got a flat hand with an 11 count, that would be the kind of hand that would redouble to suggest 10 plus points, no primary fit, and an interest in penalizing the East-West hand. Here, I think probably the best thing we can do is raise with a fit, and you should not be playing inverted minors in competition. What you should be playing is just back to good old ma and pa kitchen table bridge here, where two diamonds says I've got 6 to 10 points and at least 4 trumps. So you might wonder, what would I do if I did have like an inverted minor raise here, a hand that was good, but it was definitely offensive oriented rather than like defensive oriented, like the redouble hand? Those are hands that you would put into something called Jordan 2 no trump, which is a convention that's probably worth picking up if you haven't already. North would be able to bid 2 no trump in a spot like this to say, so let's back it up 1. And this is hypothetical, it's not North's real hand. We could bid 2 no trump here to say diamond raise, invitational or better. That's what 2 no trump would be here. Okay. We don't have that hand. We just have a simple raise to 2 diamonds. I'm just showing you what the different things would be. Redouble would be 10 plus points, probably not much of a diamond fit and a balanced hand. We would set up penalty doubles on the second round of the auction. And what else could we do? We could raise to 3 diamonds. That would be preemptive. You might say, why isn't partner going to take 2 no trump? Is just strictly natural. Like, you know, the same thing it would be without the double. Say most people play it as 10 to 12 without a 4-card major. Why wouldn't it be that? Well, it wouldn't be that because those hands go into redouble. The hands that are balanced with 10 points, those hands all go into redouble. So what we're actually going to do is just play 2 diamonds here. We don't want it to be inverted in competition. East certainly has enough for what's called a free bid of 2 hearts. And the reason we're calling it a free bid is because it's not forced. After North acts, East is under no obligation to bid. So when East bids 2 hearts here, like it definitely shows a little something. Okay? Versus if they pass over your partner's takeout double, now you've kind of got a gun to your head, right? But here we didn't have to bid 2 hearts. Therefore, partner can assign some meaning to it. Like, hey, I really don't mind hearts versus you asked me to pick a suit and I did, and don't hang me for it because I had to. All right, so it goes 2 hearts. I think South probably wants to compete to 3 diamonds based on a 5th diamond, singleton club. Sounds like the opponents definitely have a fit here. West would pass. You know, she said her all, right? Double described her hand perfectly. And North would pass. 2 diamonds described her hand perfectly. And now it would get back to East. And I would be thinking I probably want to compete to 3 hearts here. So, I mean, some of this is just like automated judgment at this point, but I'll try and slowly walk you guys through what I would be thinking as East here. I would be estimating my partner's shape, and it sounds like, you know, when partner makes a takeout double of 1 diamond, what I'm imagining, and again, this doesn't have to be exactly true, but it's an estimate, is that partner has 4 cards in the other suits and a singleton in the suit that they've doubled. Okay, so if that's true, we have 9 hearts and they have 10 diamonds, and it's certainly right for me to compete to 3 hearts because the law predicts that there's 19 tricks. When there's 19 tricks, we are certainly justified in bidding 3 hearts over 3 diamonds. Now, I don't really think that all of that is true here. Like, if partner had the perfect hand, you know, maybe say a singleton heart, or excuse me, singleton diamond and 4 hearts, she might have already competed to 3 hearts. So I think that it's more likely than not that she's got, you know, something a little less shapely than 4 hearts and a singleton diamond. But even if we take it down to what she's actually got, which is 3 hearts and 2 diamonds, and that's kind of like the minimum offensive discrepancy between heart and diamond length that she would have, I'm still justified in bidding 3 hearts here. We would have 8, they would have 9 diamonds, and I would be justified in bidding 3 hearts, whether or not it's making. Okay, because when there's 17 trumps, one of the pairs is making at the 3 level, right? And if they're making 3 diamonds, we want to be competing to 3 hearts because it's a less minus score than defending 3 diamonds. And if we're the ones making 3 hearts, similarly, we want to be plus 140 instead of plus 100 beating 3 diamonds trick. So that's how the thinking would go. And I would go ahead and bid 3 hearts with a hand like this. All right. And that would probably be the end of the auction. And if we look at the play in hearts, we would be losing 2 diamonds, and we would be losing a spade, and we would be losing 1.5 hearts, depending on whether we guess the jack of hearts or not. So double dummy, 3 hearts is a maker. Let's confirm that with this opening lead stuff. Let's go to our opening lead tool and confirm that 3 hearts is a maker, and it's all about guessing the jack of hearts. Let's see, what if South actually led the Singleton Club? What would happen then? Singleton Club is going to be a little bit of a problem, so we could play. Yeah, I think South is always going to come to 2 tricks, right? Because she can get her partner in with a diamond or a heart ruff. So 2-1-2. I'm actually going to revise here and say that 3 hearts is down 1 on the Singleton Club lead. Let's see. It's actually down 2. Let's see. So we would lead a club. They could play a heart. We fly ace. We cross to one of partner's diamonds for, let's see, that's winning the ace of hearts. Cross to partner's diamond is 2. She gives us a club ruff is 3. We cross to her other diamond is 4. She gives us a club ruff for 5, and we still have a spade trick in the wash for 6. All right, so the Singleton Club lead is actually down 2. That would be plus 100 to north-south. Now, if we think about the play in diamonds, looks like we are going to lose a couple of spades and a heart and a club. So if we back this up and make South play 3 diamonds, I think this is going to be a maker. Oop. I can go back to pass. And do our double dummy thing again. Yeah, so everything's either making or allowing an over trick in 3 diamonds. So diamonds makes 9 tricks, hearts makes 7 tricks, that's 16. It's actually 1 lower than what the law predicted. And the best that north-south could actually do on this deal is to double 3 diamonds, defend perfectly, get 300. Let's see what the match points were on this deal. That. Okay, so we got 65% for making 110. 110 should definitely be a good score for East-West. Let's look at the score slip. Yeah, there's some 140s, 170s. Surprised more people aren't competing in diamonds. There were 4 people who played diamonds, made either 3 or 4. So I think, if South opens a diamond here and North gives that diamond raise, we're certainly going to end up in the spot where we've definitely bid 3 diamonds, and our opponents are either going to let us play there or bid 3 hearts. Either one of them ought to lead to a plus score. And this kind of deal is what I would call like a plus, a battle to go plus, because you'll see that it's kind of evenly split. East-West went plus 9 times, North-South went plus 5 times. Okay, but definitely like a law of total tricks type deal here. All right, let's do one more and then call it a day and give you guys plenty to munch on for just 3 hands here. All right, we've got another borderline opening. It's another opening I would make, particularly because of the vulnerability and the first seat. And I have a suit that I want to bid. I have some high cards concentrated in my long suit. I would open this hand a club. It's going to make your life easier than passing with these. And I guess like one adjustment you need to make is if you do open lightly and the opponents stay out of your auction, you need to be a little conservative in your constructive bidding. I think I mentioned that in a previous video this week, where, if you're going to open some 11 and 12 counts, you need to be careful not jamming it into game with every nondescript 12 and 13 point hand as responder, right? So that's the adjustment I would make from a constructive bidding standpoint. If I had the conversation with a partner that, hey, like tactically speaking, it's correct to open light, and we want to incorporate that kind of style. So it's a club. This is kind of cheesy with 5-3-3-2, but I do definitely have a suit that I want led. I think I would overcall a heart here, but this is like the absolute worst hand I could have for a one heart overcall. The shape is bad. The vulnerability is bad. The trick taking potential is pretty bad. But I do have a good suit that I definitely want led if partner's on lead. I think in the calculus of things, this is worth overcalling a heart, but realize this is super cheesy. Okay. And now North has this gigantic hand, 17 opposite a partner who opened. Let's talk for a second about the concept of negative double. Negative is a misnomer in the fact that it makes you think that you actually like lack some baseline threshold of values if you make a negative double. That is not true. Negative doubles have unlimited values. Like they promise a certain amount of values, but the ceiling isn't capped. So as an example of that, let's pretend that North only had 4 spades, but still had 17 points on this deal. You would still start with a negative double. Okay. The point being here, negative double only speaks to 4 spades, and it speaks to having enough to keep the bidding open, i.e. 5 or 6 points, but there isn't a cap. So if anyone is under the impression that negative somehow implies that the bid is limited, that's not true. Negative doubles can be gigantic hands. They can be hands bigger than this North hand. Okay. Anyway, North would bid 1 spade here. That's forcing. It shows 5 spades, and like the negative double, it's uncapped. Okay, it's 5-2, 4 gazillion. East has 4 trumps here, but a pretty terrible hand, and the vulnerability is not good for us when we're red against white. So I believe I would just pass here. Okay, with the 4-4-3-2 shape and the lack of values, the queen jack and the suit that they're bidding. And again, this vulnerability, I think it can only hurt our side if I bid here. Okay, if we switch the vulnerability, if we made like us white and them red, you could probably talk me into an action as aggressive as 3 hearts, preemptive and blocking here. But at this vulnerability, I'm super scared to raise hearts. And if you just look at like, say you raised to 2 hearts and they doubled you and you decided to play, 2 hearts doubled. Look at the lack of tricks, right? You have the 5 hearts, and that's only because the trumps break 2-2, and you get to ruff a spade in the East hand. So the East-West hands only produce 6 tricks. And when we're vulnerable against not vulnerable, we can't be bidding at the 8 trick level against competent opponents who will double us when we only have 6 tricks, right? Because 6 tricks gives them plus 500, which is more than the value of any of their games. It's more than 400, 420, 430, 450, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. Anyway, I'm not bidding with the East hand. South knows that North has 5 spades here, so South can definitely raise spades, and also wants to send the message that I have a minimum. So he's just going to rebid 2 spades. Partner, we have a spade fit, and I don't have any extra values, because if I did, you would have heard me like Q bid their suit, or bid 3 spades, or bid 4 spades. And North has a huge hand here, right? 17. But is it really like the right hand for doing anything here? Partner's probably got a weak no trump type hand. I don't know, 17 with bad trumps. I think I would just content myself with 4 spades here. And this is one reason why it's important for South to clarify not only that she's got a spade fit, but how strong her hand is. When I hear that my partner's got a minimum, I think that I'm going to content myself with just bidding game with this. If it were ambiguous as to how many points South had held, you would have to investigate slam with the North hand. Right? And one more thought on that. And this is like only really recently been beaten into my brain because I used to be more stubborn about aggressive bidding. When you're on the borderline between, say, just bidding game and making a slam try, tend to be conservative, tend to go low, tend to not take the aggressive action when you have bad trumps. Okay, so here I've got the king 9 fifth. That's a pretty bad suit. Compare that with like if I had something like, take the jack of hearts and put it in the spade suit, maybe give me the 10 of spades too. Then I would be way more tempted if I had good like texture in the trump suit. But here I think I'm just gonna bid 4 spades, and they're gonna lead a heart, which is going to mean that I'm going to lose 2 hearts and a spade for plus 420. Note that if West hadn't overcalled a heart, if East leads something other than a heart, Declare is going to be able to pitch one of his heart losers. So getting a heart lead rather than something else is the difference between 420 and 450 on this deal. And I actually felt a little bit bad. I thought maybe I could have helped my partner here. So what happened at our table was South actually passed. North opened a spade in third chair, and South bid a Drury 2 clubs, which showed invitational values in spades. And 3 card support. It just happened. It was a coincidence that he actually had clubs too. I considered throwing a 2 heart call in there, knowing that they were probably going to bid 2 spades anyway, even if I was in trouble in 2 hearts, which I was. But it turns out that would have gotten partner off to a heart lead rather than the diamond lead he got off to, very reasonably. So let's talk about what the difference between 650 or 450 and 420 is on this deal. I imagine there's going to be a pretty significant match point difference for the over trick. Yeah, look at all these 450s and 420s. So let's see again, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There were 14 tables in play last night, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them produced a score of either 420 or 450. So when we're talking about comparing those 2 scores, you are basically either winning or losing half a match point against all those other tables that are either 420 or 450. So here it would be 5.5 match points out of 14 riding on the over trick, which is basically 40%, right? And we can see, 4 spades is worth, or holding it to 4 spades is worth 65% for East-West, and letting it make 5 is 23%. That's 42% on the over trick, guys. Whether or not we get a heart lead here could easily be more important to our overall score than bidding some slam later on or staying in a game. 42% divided by 21 boards. I guess we played 22 last night. That's 2% on your final score. What's led on this board? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive through the first 3 boards from Thursday night. Common game, RBC, July 15th. We will be back on Monday with a new video. And Sunday night, there's a speedball game at 7 o'clock on BBO that the RBC hosts, along with Meta Smith. So it'd be great to see some of your smiling virtual faces out for that. Again, congrats to our winners, especially Lori and Dean putting up that great 63% game, which was 2nd overall. Also, some plenty of patrons here. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12 people who got their name called from last night's good performances. So keep up the good work, guys. Let me know what you want to see more of, and I hope you enjoyed some of the tidbits from the first 3 boards from last night. Talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend.